and I'm the Account Director at Visit California's Agency of Record, Development Counsellors International. Now, we really do appreciate you taking the time today to learn more about Visit California's completely revamped consumer website, visitcalifornia.com, that will go live next Tuesday, January 20. Now, today we'll provide a level setter for you, and Lynn Carpenter, the Vice President of Marketing at Visit California, will be available in the next few days leading up to the launch to answer any additional questions that you may have in more detail. But as a reminder, the information is embargoed until that date, so until January 20. Please do not post any editorial coverage until then. Now, Lynn will come on shortly on screen to provide you with background and the strategy behind the complete redesign of visitcalifornia.com. Then she will walk you through the new site, highlighting some of its enhanced elements. Now, that should take around 35 minutes or so and get us to 35 minutes past the hour. We'll then have around 20 minutes for Q&A, and now we have put you all on mute just to minimize some of that background noise disruption. So I ask you to please type your questions into the function that's available here on the webinar platform, and then during the Q&A session, I'll then moderate the questions with Lynn, and she will provide a response. Then afterwards, we'll do a quick wrap-up and ask that you do stay online till the very end, because we'll have some more important information to share with you. So on that note, I'd like to introduce Lynn Carpenter to take the reins and share more with you about the revamped visitcalifornia.com. Now, it's important to note that she was responsible for launching the original visitcalifornia.com back in 2006, and that was actually one of the first tasks assigned to her by then what was called the California Travel and Tourism Commission Board. So Lynn has brought continuity to the evolution of Visit California's digital and website strategy leading into this development. So on that note, Lynn, I'll hand it over to you in Sacramento.
Thank you so much, Malcolm. Am I recording? Hopefully everyone can hear me.
Almost
Good morning. There. Yes. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you very much for taking the time to sit with us and to hear what we have to say specific to our digital strategy and platform. Originally, when we envisioned doing this, I had talked to the team and said, I just want to get on a bus and talk to people about what we've done. I'm so excited about it, and frankly, I want to be able to see their faces and get some feedback, really. And we certainly have done quite a bit of that with the industry. We've done a lot of direct user testing, and I'm very, very interested in your feedback. So please, as Malcolm asked you, use the function for chat, ask questions. I really would like this to be a dialogue as much as it can be. So as Malcolm said, what we'll do is I'll give a brief introduction about the strategy and sort of the foundation and the basis of the website. And then there's no better way to experience the website than a demo. So we'll take you through the demonstration of the website. It's been in beta for a couple of months now. We've got a few modifications that we're going to make or that we're in the process of shoring up before launch on next Tuesday. But other than that, what you will see in a few moments is the website that we'll be launching on Tuesday the 20th. I think that it's important for everybody on the call. I know some of you are more familiar with Visit California's marketing programs and maybe some less so. So let me just say that our mission at California is to create desire for the California lifestyle. Over and above everything that we do, we see ourselves as promoting and marketing a lifestyle brand. And that will be core and central to the discussion that we'll be having today, specific to the website and how the website and the role the website plays in evaluating, discussing, and communicating that lifestyle brand. The other thing that people have asked is sort of the industry partners that we've sought out. We did a pretty extensive RFP. We looked at partners all over the United States to help us in the execution of this website. We settled on a firm in San Francisco, Code and Theory. We selected them because of their extensive background in the production of media websites. And specifically what we knew we wanted to do as we were writing our marketing requirements document and the strategy for this website is that we did not want to replicate a best-of-breed DMO website. As a matter of fact, while we know we're in the DMO category, we take our cues really from best-of-breed media websites that are out there. As I said, we're marketing a lifestyle, and as such, we really felt strongly that what we needed to do is we needed a media companion piece that could really be a page-turner, and so we looked for people with deep media background. I also want to say that the role of the Visit California website has changed markedly, and Malcolm pointed out that specific to the overall website, we started in 2006 with a website that was really what we would call a planning website. And back then, many of you will remember with me that the website itself did not have a strong social media element. It did not have a strong mobile element. And so the way that we thought of the web was really subordinate to our mainstream media activities. So when you think about us marketing a lifestyle brand, what we thought about in 2006 is we've got the centerpiece of our marketing program, and that centerpiece of our marketing program is our television broadcast spot and the media dollars that go behind putting that broadcast spot on television. We use the call to action with that, and then within the call to action, we had visitcalifornia.com, and then we thought of visitcalifornia.com as really being a companion or the call to action where if people wanted more information, they would go for booking information. Therefore, visitcalifornia.com 2.0, which you can see, I think, on the slide that was just put up, was really designed to be editorially driven. We have partners with Sunset Publishing here in the West Coast that helped us produce best-of-breed editorial. It was highly informational. We really felt that it needed to be as exhaustive and granular as possible because we really wanted to make sure, and what we heard from consumers is they wanted the inside scoop on California, and we felt that we were uniquely positioned to provide that for them with content. We had a fairly rigid back-end structure. For those of you that are on the call that have a technology bent, just know that we had an internal content management system that we could use, but it was very templatized. So our ability to be able to do on-the-fly marketing promotions over the years had been somewhat limited, and it was a desktop-first system. So we call that really a planning website. We are moving in visitcalifornia.com 3.0 to a dreaming website, which is very apropos, as you know, because California is the land of dream big. And we see this as being experiential. It'll be highly visually driven, curated, and contextual. The flexible structure is something that's very back-end and operational, but really will be a huge advantage for us in terms of being able to be nimble. And lastly, it's mobile first. And I think those of you that saw the Skift report this morning on the top trends and what people are doing right now in the DMO space and in the tourism and travel space, mobile and experiential came up first. And I just want to, for the record, say this slide is 6 months old. So, those are sort of three key bullet points. A couple other things for you to note is that, you know, our role of the website is really unlike other DMO websites. We wanted to unduplicate or make sure we weren't duplicating what we knew was being done in other websites and in other areas. So what you'll see us doing on the website when we get to the demo is pointing off to best-of-breed planning, mapping, social media websites. We have no intention of occupying spaces where there are already very best-of-breed contents on the web. Instead, what we tried to do is make sure that we were occupying unduplicated value proposition. And what does that mean? Well, when you look at a state like California, I think the other thing that you need to consider is that California and our $110 billion tourism economy, 4 major gateways, LA, San Francisco, San Diego, Orange County, all of these regions, Disneyland, have tremendous site traffic and tremendous digital footprint. And so a big consideration set for California in terms of the development of our strategy is what space should we occupy and how could we deliver the most value to consumers. And so this funnel that you see in front of you here really shows that, and this was really designed as we talked to our industry partners to say, we want to sit top of funnel at the inspiration stage, and you'll hear us use that term over and over. The Visit California website ambition is to inspire users to consider a California vacation. Yes, we measure our ultimate success as a tourism entity by incremental visitation to the state of California, but before we can get that incremental visitation, we must get somebody interested to come to California. And frankly, that is the role that we play at a state level on the global scale. So this website launch obviously is not just a footprint that's going to be national or domestic. We are looking at 13 countries, 9 languages, where we have today domains, but this is one architecture that will span all of that global footprint. So the inspiration part of this funnel that you see in front of you is important, and this was very important when we talked to our partners at Disney and LA and San Francisco to say, let's coordinate. You know, we are known as the most collaborative destination marketing organization, I think, in the nation, we've been told. And we talked about collaborating and making sure that our handoff to not just best-in-class resources, but also to our partner websites so that they could really reside in the planning, booking, and experience windows where they own product and they were best suited to reside, and really allowing them, also freeing them up from having to do the work of the inspiration and the outreach. So that's the alignment, and that was sort of our fourth goal in the development of this. And then lastly, we'll just say that this website was not the catalyst for the development of this website was not to say we got feedback from consumers that said that they were unhappy with our existing website. As a matter of fact, it was just the opposite. We had high satisfaction and approval ratings with our website as you see it today. People were very happy with it. It looked professional. It had a lot of information. I think it was more the catalyst for the development of this, more had to do with us wanting to stay ahead of the curve and to really facilitate our marketing program to make sure that we were serving the consumer where the consumer was going, not just where the consumer is today. And I hope that you'll see that in the demonstration. So that's the overall sort of summary of some of the key features. What I'll do now is take you through a demonstration, and then we can circle back and I can hit on some of those strategic points more succinctly if you have any questions about what I've just talked about in the introduction. So why don't we start here with what isn't the home page? And I use that terminology incredibly deliberately. And that is because one thing in this new website that we have been stressing is there won't really be a home page. And so many of you who run websites or have been part of websites will note that home pages always become sort of that coveted above the fold inventory. What am I going to put there? Which photos am I going to use? And what we're really thinking about is a hub strategy. We're going to couple or marry our strategy with driving media traffic here so that we will drive people to context-appropriate regions of the website. So if somebody is searching on food or looking at a piece of content that's specific to the culinary pillar of our program, they will drop straight into an article or a page that is relevant or a region that makes sense for them. The second thing you'll notice is this incredibly long scroll when you get to the page. So you can see we've got many content types and big, huge inspirational photos. That was one thing that we got complimented on over and over again in our user testing was the inspirational nature of this content. You can see as I'm sort of scrolling through this homepage, this is really, or not homepage, but this first page, this is really a collection of all kinds of content. We've also got content, inspirational content, that we did not have on the last website. For instance, very famous quotes and things that inspired people to come to California or how they felt about California. We have events on the website. and feature articles. And so we've got sort of pieces of all kinds of iconic elements of California, and the scroll goes on. And this is really designed to deliver on what we talked about earlier, which is that magazine-like experience. So again, you're not planning, you're being inspired. And it's really a lean-back experience as you scroll through and say, I wonder what California has to offer. The second thing, so this goes all the way down here, and this is the footer. I'll just take you to the bottom with some recirculation links down at the bottom. The second thing that we thought about as we look through this is that we thought there's two ways people are going to look at this website or navigate it. And the first one, and I know this from experience because I'm not a native Californian, but being from the East Coast, the first thing anybody ever asks us is, where are different places in California relative to one another, and how can I get around the state? So we've got this regional map here of California that calls out areas. I'll click on San Diego, and we've got some information about San Diego and some highlights. And this is one of the key ways that we saw that people would navigate the website, again, if you're not sure where you're going to go or what you're going to see. The other thing and feature that we added was weather and a full sort of utilities around viewing the forecast and the forecast during different times of year in terms of range. And then here's the first delivery on one of the strategies I talked about, which is if you want to view the full forecast, you pop out to weather.com to view the full forecast. So again, we weren't trying to replicate what we knew weather.com had sewn up. So as we come through San Diego and San Diego County, we'll go through and take a look at some of the content. We feature specific areas within San Diego and icons and attractions as we go through. And then here, I'll stop and show you, this is how we are going to be using navigation around trips. And this was sort of an interesting way to look at this. Our trips obviously span different regions. So this is from the ultimate SoCal, from Los Angeles to Sequoia and Kings Canyon. And the other thing that our research pointed out is that users just love these trips, and they love them so much that they wanted us to aggregate them together in one spot. So I'll talk more about that later. But the trips actually show a small ant trail, and again, popping off to a website, in this case, Google Maps, to show you the actual trip location and where it actually sits vis-a-vis all the different trip stops. Go back to the website, and you see that this navigation here actually could jump you straight to different aspects of it, or you could use the long scroll function to take a look at the stops. So you begin with Los Angeles, next stop Disneyland, and as I pop down to Disneyland, you'll see that Disneyland is now highlighted in the left-hand side. Here we are in Disneyland, where you can get more information on Disney, next stop San Diego, and you go through your trip in this fashion. The other thing that, so these trips have been incredibly successful, and one of the things that people have asked us for, this is our general navigation. I talked about taking a cue from best-of-breed media websites, and this is one of the user interface design features. You know, there was nobody that had any question that this was the first place you went if you wanted to navigate. We have not populated this yet. We're actually using our user research to determine, but search is one of the key features that people are looking for, and then trips, and these trip types were another. So we'll come back to this in a second. But let's go to search actually now that I talked about it. And so search is the second way that people will navigate the website, we feel, instead of using the map. And in this case, say I type in Yosemite, which is a topic that's been in the news lately with the groundbreaking Dawn Wall climb. And you'll see under Yosemite that we have some listings, and then we have all of the content features within the website that are featuring or mention Yosemite. So lots of great information. I could say, oh, I'm interested in Glacier Point, and then that brings you directly into an article on Glacier Point. So that's how search is used, and then you can see how some of this is very modular in design, where we've aggregated other content around this region as well. This is a High Sierra Chef's Holiday, something that's taking place there right now, and then other content around Yosemite. So the other thing that I think is a good way to look at this, and let's go to another, actually let's go to Death Valley, shall we? And I think in Death Valley, I'll also tell you something funny. In our user research, I was just very interested in the demographic breakdown between searchers and scrollers. It turns out that searchers have a little bit more boomer-esque sort of age demographic, and I do fall into that. So here we are at the National Park for Death Valley. And we'll scroll through here. It gives you an idea of where you are regionally. I'll also point out that we've integrated social media features, so if you want to share some of the content or articles that you see, that's also very easy to do. And as you go through Death Valley and look through here, what you'll see is the ability, or what we've posted is a number of internal and external links. So in this particular instance, where we say start planning, we're going to make the assumption that as a consumer, I've looked through the website, I'm kind of interested in more information on Death Valley, so I click here, and what we're doing is bouncing you straight to what we think is going to be the link you really want, which is the National Park Service Death Valley information site. This is another important departure on this website compared to where we had been in the past, or maybe where other DMOs are, and that is that we are not necessarily trying to keep people just within our website. We feel like this is an open architecture, both technology and from a content perspective, and as open as we can be with driving people to the links that they need when they need them. That is the role of this website, and one of the KPIs of this website will really be the traffic that we are able to drive to our partners. So that's I think pretty important. Let's just go to San Francisco, because I think this is also interesting. When you look at San Francisco, you can see, well, I'm kind of more interested in what's in the San Francisco area. I'm interested in Napa and Sonoma. So rather than go to San Francisco, this was a change that we saw as part of the research. They might want to go straight to Napa and Sonoma. How do we integrate that? We lead them straight here. And you can see, again, information that would lead them to being able to start planning directly into visit Napa Valley website or the Sonoma County website or other partner websites that have very specific information or calendars of events or other things that are further down the funnel, content that we do not intend to replicate on our website. And I think that's a really important point. However, one of the other things that we heard in our research is that people really wanted to, let me go to Calistoga here, people really wanted to make sure that they could also stay on our website for a little while. They didn't want to just be bounced off. So that is going to be the art and science of when to move them deeper within our website as part of this linking strategy, and when to sort of send them to partner websites. So you can see when I hit expand here, those links show up, and there's more information and expanded content. So I think I just have two other points I'll make, and then we can go to Q&A. And the first point, since I said mobile first, I better demonstrate it, is that we have this incredibly responsive design. And so let me give you this form factor here. As a matter of fact, not only is it a responsive design, but we were told in research that, in fact, this design in the smaller form factor may even work better or be more compelling. It's what people are used to. It almost looks like a Twitter feed. So you can see this would be about, well, I have the 6 Plus. So this would be about my iPhone size. And then let me show you the iPad. same thing. And actually, I think the iPad also tested beautifully because the photos are still full bleed and give you that inspiration and sort of that magazine feeling as you scroll through. So, so that's sort of those are the key things. I think there's one future element I'd like to take you through, and I didn't necessarily click on these recirculation links, but you can see that we kept them at our really gateway, highest attractions. Part of the reason we did this is remember, this is a global website. These are really the places that people are going to be looking for around the world first and foremost, and then we'll be pulling them deeper into content. The piece that I'll share with you right now is our video strategy, because you might have noticed that we haven't integrated, we have got some video content integrated. This is how we're representing video content on the website starting on Tuesday. There'll be a little video player button here, and you'll see that when I click on it, it plays the video seamlessly. For you guys in the audience who are technical, you can say, this is kind of cool, right? It's not like a video player. I'm not bouncing you out. I'm watching a video. It's a great video. I shouldn't talk over it.
You need to believe in something intensely enough to make things happen.
So that's the video. I won't play the whole thing. You can watch it later, but you can see how easy it is for me to go in and out of video within the existing architecture. The first upgrade and modification we'll be making or enhancement to the website is going to be the video strategy, so stay tuned. That will be launched in February after we have a successful launch of this. For about a month, we will add the video strategy, and there'll be more content on that and how that video strategy will play out. But I think you can imagine with our Dream 365 program and the wealth of video that we have, how we're going to display it on this website has already been thought out. So, Malcolm, those were my key points on the demonstration and some of the strategies. I don't know if we could go to questions now, or maybe try to make this into a dialogue. That would be great. It's 11:35, so we're on time.
Perfect, perfect. So we do have a few questions here, and I'll start out with the first one, Lynn, and that is, what is the rollout plan for the new site? Will it be going global on January 20?
It will be national on January 20th. So we are going to be launching our .com site. So it'll be accessible global, but we won't have our language or in-language versions available until after. Our target date for those are being worked on right now. Our target date for that is similar with the video launch. It'll be in late February. We will have those 9 languages as I suggested, and I'm happy to send those to you. But we will also not just have 9 languages, but we will also be localizing it in Australia, UK, and Canada, even though it'll be English.
Right. And can you share just what the expected number or what the expected traffic figures will be for the site?
I think site traffic is an interesting one because it was never our goal to increase site traffic as part of this. However, what it was our goal to set ourselves up and establish a global platform so we could integrate it with the rest of our website. Today, we get 5 million uniques a year on a global basis, and with the integration of, and that's sort of natural search traffic as well as with some of our media plan, we will be putting significant media behind this because we see this, as I said early on, as not just a subordinate component to our broadcast unit, but really part of our brand strategy. So we expect that to go quite a bit higher.
One question here about imagery. How important was it for the site to be visually based, especially when it comes to such a scenic destination like California?
Yeah, it was critical. As a matter of fact, it was probably the single most, if you said what was the single most important factor, because I'm a little operationally minded, I would have said flexible architecture, but right behind it, it would have been visual. It needed to be able to show the depth and breadth of California and our lifestyle and attitude. And so we've invested considerably, and I hope that came through in the demo, in the content aspects of the website and making that sing. And I will say, I didn't take you guys through the details of the research, but we contracted with an external research firm outside of both ourselves and our web agency to get some third-party perspective on the website, and we did a global user testing. And as part of that user testing, they mapped our website on an axis of sort of inspiration. So it was like boring to inspiration, and then it was frustrating to usable. So sort of that was the axis point. And we sat in that fourth quadrant exactly where we wanted to be. I think, you know, the whole notion of inspiration came up over and over. And as a matter of fact, we sat in that quadrant vis-a-vis some of the big DMO players that we were mapped against. So we're very happy with those results.
Great. So now, during the design process, were there any additions that were made that you hadn't initially thought of? So when you went out to the experts to develop this site, they came back with a few aha concepts for consideration and for inclusion.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I like that question because it was a long process, so I have to go back now and remember. But I will say that whenever you're really close to your product, the way that we are close to California, you know, we have a very strong sense of who we are and what we are and who our users are. And I think that the biggest role that our agency partners helped us play in this was to really back off and create a little bit more simple interface and give a little bit more credit to a younger, maybe more millennial generation that really wanted to see mobile. I mean, to be honest, of course, we had mobile first in the requirements, but I think they exceeded our expectations in terms of mobile and social integration and the importance of that. So that would be one thing. And then I think we always wanted video, so the video wasn't so much. I think we pushed hard on search. They didn't feel like search was really that important. You heard me stress that I thought it was important. I think that that's the natural sort of give and take. I think you know, they really felt like users who are on the web all the time are going to want to use this like an Instagram or like any beautiful, simple, best-of-breed application. And so they pushed us in that direction and kind of took us out of the DMO space where it's pretty tempting to go for us.
Great. Now, you may have referenced this earlier, but it might be worth restating. How is this going to drive more visitor arrivals to California?
Sure. So I think it's important to note that the website itself, I'm trying to say this, is that the website itself traditionally was a subordinate or companion piece. It really wasn't designed to drive more arrivals to California. I think the way that we look at the website now, we think about the website in terms of an owned asset and a media vehicle that we can use to inspire people to come to California, particularly in the international space where the familiarity in a place like Brazil or China with California may be limited to LA or Disneyland. What we feel like with this website and the ability to really peruse the pages and to get drawn into it, which is the experience we're hoping our prospective visitors will have, is to consider a side of California and the assets and attributes of California that they haven't seen before, and to potentially get excited enough about that to share that with others. We really feel like this is a shareable website. There'll be tremendous word of mouth. But the media plans that we have around this, we think will be ultimately the big driver of incremental visits to California. And we will put metrics in place to measure that. Does that answer it?
Okay, we have a double-barrel question for you, Lynn, so prepare yourself. Let's talk money. So can you share any cost figures on the redevelopment, and can you also comment on monetization of the site in the future?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, those are good questions, and those are questions that that we anticipated, particularly the monetization one. We're having a lot of discussion on internally here. But let me start with the first one. So the cost of the website and the investment that we're making is broken down into sort of 3 places. So when we think about costs in California, again, because I'm not thinking about this website in a silo of digital programs, but I'm thinking about it integrated across all of our marketing programs, I think it's important to know that the infrastructure of the website isn't the only cost of this website in my mind. And it isn't because building out the infrastructure and the global infrastructure is coupled now with what will be an enhanced media investment. Prior to this, with more of a planning website, we did not invest a tremendous amount. We had some always-on digital banner advertising, and we also had some additional digital layer that we kept running. But you're going to see a far more robust digital layer, and to me that's part of the cost of this website is really the development of that, and as well as the content pieces that we needed to populate. So the cost of the website is broken into those 3 pieces in my mind: infrastructure, content, and media. From an infrastructure perspective, which is probably what your question is, like how much did you pay for this? We're amortizing this. It's a capital expenditure. We're amortizing it over a number of years, and the cost this year was $250,000. But it will be amortized over a number of years. So that's the pure infrastructure number. And then the media will be part of our 50, soon to be $100 million marketing plan. And then content, we have been sourcing from a variety of places, our partnership with Sunset, as well as we did a lot of online scraping for some of these content sources, working with Flickr feeds and other things, and that's really paid off dividends. Not everything has to cost a lot, but we certainly had to do some investment internally here to be able to curate and create the kind of curated experience that the website's set up for. So that's the cost answer, or the money answer. The other side of the money answer is monetization, or really what we were thinking about. Originally, our website has standard advertising or advertising banners. We're going to standard IAB size, so that's one piece of monetization. We have 2 other pieces. We will eventually host native content, so there'll be an opportunity for native content plays, as well as some ability for integration of video and photography. But the role that we're taking a reasonable stance. We're going to launch this for 90 days. We want to see this run in a stable environment. We want to make sure that we've got all the content feedback that we can have from the industry, because as you saw, we have considerable content links out to the industry. So obviously that's all part of just the consumer experience. So anything that we do for monetization will sit over and above that. So we'd like to stabilize the web experience for 90 days, and then we will be rolling out this cooperative marketing program where the industry can buy in at different levels to further integration on the website.
Great, and thanks, Lynn. And while I sort of interject here, if anyone would like to enter some more questions, please do. We do have time. We have a few more that have just come in, though, and we'll get to those now. So, Lynn, can you share what are the applications for this new website for travel trade? Obviously, Visit California has its own dedicated travel trade portal, but how can travel agents use this site to help sell California?
Well, I think the inspiration on this website is helpful in a number of different ways, particularly internationally, where some of the information can sometimes feel limited. What you'll see is that a lot of the content, the trip itineraries, the photography, and the inspirational editorial will make its way over to the travel trade website in an appropriate fashion for the travel trade. We also have pretty extensive training modules on the travel trade website and a training program that I'm sure you're aware of. But this will just be another arrow in our quiver in terms of being able to broaden people's perception of California.
So a slightly different question now, and one about native content. And so when do you anticipate the launch of the first round of native content on the site? Well,
we'd like the site to be stable for at least 90 days before we launch that. And so we were shooting for late spring.
And when it came to the development of this website, and you mentioned earlier you have a lot of stakeholders within the destination that is within California. How were they engaged in the process of developing this new website?
Yeah, I think that's important. That was a tremendously collaborative process on many levels. First of all, because of the way Visit California works, where we have an advisory board for all our major initiatives. We had a task force or committee that was comprised of the industry that helped us with and bought off on pretty much all of the key milestones and steps in the development of the website. They developed and supported the strategy, and then we met on a regular basis as we developed wireframes, et cetera. So that was one way that the industry was involved. But we took a really big step prior to launch. This has been ready, frankly, since December in beta form. And we decided that during this beta process, rather than just send the link out and get feedback, that we would really take the time to take our key industry partners, and particularly those that have a fairly large digital footprint, and you can guess who that would be, the Disneys and LA's and San Francisco's, Palm Springs, et cetera, and really sit down with them and take an hour or so to walk them through this, as we are doing with you today, and get feedback not only on the imagery and the positioning of our content, but also the links and the websites that they would like to see us highlight in our link-off strategy. And that has paid off dividends, to be honest. We got tremendous amount of collaboration and feedback. We got great insight and input, and it's really helped make our content far more relevant than it would have been had we not taken the time to do that step. So I'm really happy we did it.
Right, and going back to the native content question, and if this is something that you can answer now, great, otherwise it's something you can certainly follow up on. But are you able to share any of the types of sectors of partners that will be featured in the native content, or is it just simply too early to discuss at this stage?
It's too early to discuss at this stage. I can say that we are in development on that strategy right now and working with content partners and content agencies to support in that development, but we don't have anything to share that would be relevant right now.
Okay, now if no one else has any other questions, I do have one final question for you, but willing to take a few more if anyone would like to submit them. So what's the future strategy moving forward? Where do you see this site in 3 years from now, 5 years from now?
Well, one thing that I will say is that the last website that we built in 2006 lasted nearly 10 years, and the challenge that I gave to the team here, and I know this is going to sound like an eon for a digital project, is I would like this to last for 10 years too. I feel like this, the real goal here was to build a flexible architecture and a real solid, steady base that we could put a $100 million program on top of. And so to answer your question, my view is in 3 years that we will still be on this architecture, that we will probably have moved more mobile. Right now, I think on a global basis, 41% of our traffic is mobile. That's a 56% increase over last year. That trajectory is going to just increase from all external indicators. And so I think creating a more mobile environment so that people can really access content in a simple and seamless way is going to be the key. So you'll just see that growth.
Great. Well, on that note, we'll end the Q&A session, and we'll just transfer back to me. And while that happens, I just would like to just thank everyone. Thank everyone for being a part of today's virtual press conference. And as you've heard, Visit California's revamped consumer website will make it even easier for travelers to dream big on their next vacation in the Golden State. Now, again, as a reminder, please do respect the January 20 embargo, because that's when the story will be online, and obviously we would love for you to be able to link to the site when it is live. But in terms of follow-up, if there's anything else you need, please let me know. Again, Lindy's available to provide any additional answers or share anything else that wasn't covered today. But on that note, just thank you very much for your participation, and we wish you a great day. Thank you so much.